And Mike, I'm going to you first on this one because I know you have some thoughts on this. St. John's goes into Marquette, and they get a 32.9 rebound, 7 assist game from Cam Jones, and they survive it. They win in overtime. Zubio edge of 4. The game winner, the second time this season, he did a game winner off of an offensive rebound. RJ Lewis had 28. Kadari Richmond with the triple-double, and Rick Pitino now outright regular season title. But to me, the story of this game, Marquette has now lost 6 of the last 10. Do you guys know the last time that Marquette beat a tournament team? Either of you? Do you know?
No, it's been a while.
Was it Wisconsin?
It was not. They beat Creighton on January 3rd. Wow. It has been more than 2 months since Marquette beat an NCAA tournament team.
Rob, do you remember in the preseason what I said about Marquette?
Oh. That they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament? Yes, that was a ridiculous.
No, I said they were a fringe tournament team. And since that January 3rd, they have played like a fringe tournament team.
They have not been great. And I just want, like, Mike, how worried are you about, like, is this, okay, Marquette might be like a 7 seed, losing the first round kind of a team? Because that's kind of where I think they're trending at this point.
Yeah, I mean, all the evidence over the last 2 months would suggest that. I mean, I think how dependent they were and how dependent they kind of still are on Cam Jones to make things happen. I mean, he had 32 points on almost 30 shots today. So he didn't do it as efficiently as maybe you'd like to. And so I don't know. I look at Marquette and just the decline coincided with just when you get into conference play, it's really hard night in and night out to have the lack of size that they have and try to compete on the glass. And if you can't compete on the glass, you're not giving yourself extra opportunities. Then you got to be really good. You got to really turn teams over to try to level that margin out. And they haven't been able to do that as at the level that they did earlier in the season. And then, everybody, I mean, St. John's is a little bit different with the way they extend their pressure out. So it actually allowed a few more gaps for Cam Jones to drive today. But, you go back to like the Villanova game a couple of weeks ago and just a lot of teams that are trying to pack things in on Cam and, force Marquette to pass the ball east-west and shoot contested threes. And, and they haven't shot it particularly well. Right. So that's just a really bad recipe when you get into conference play to try to win consistently. And, St. John's, I mean, Marquette actually rebounded pretty well today on the offensive glass in particular, but just not enough against a St. John's team that just feels like you have to stab them through the heart to try to knock them off. It's insane.
You can't kill them, Goodman. You just cannot kill the St. John's team. It doesn't make sense to me why they are as good as they are when they cannot shoot.
Really?
Like they don't really have no, I get it. But even with Rick Pitino, like it just the idea that a team that can't make shots from the outside, that relies almost entirely on offensive rebounds and turnovers and mid-range jumpers can be this good. It's just, it doesn't compute in my mind, but it's Rick Pitino doing Rick Pitino things, man. It just, I don't understand why it works. Here's the reason why it's so shocking to me is that Pitino was like the first guy to really adopt the 3-pointer in college. Like that was part of what he was like, oh, we have these 3-pointers. They're worth an extra point. Let's get really good at making those shots. Right. He was the first person to kind of adapt to that. And now he's got a team that can make a second weekend, that can make a deep run, that is number 6 in America, that like no one's going to be shocked if Rick Pitino gets a team to the Final Four. Right. And they're not like, they don't make threes. They were 5 for 23 today and they go on the road and they beat Marquette in overtime. It just, the idea that this is how this is playing out does not, I feel like my brain is scrambled.
I don't think he wanted to put this team together that couldn't make threes. I think it was more like we got to get athletic, and they got these athletes, and in the portal, it's hard. Sometimes you think you're going to get a guy and then you miss out on him, and you got to get plan B or C, and the pieces don't fit exactly as you anticipated. It's why I'm not sure this team can go that deep in the tournament. This is not a team that I think can win 6 straight because of how they shoot the ball. But, that last play kind of summed up this team this year, right? Kadari Richmond makes a great defensive play, and Wiltshire gets the pass, and Zuby scores the game winner. And that's kind of what this team's been about for the most part. I mean, obviously, RJ Lewis has been probably their most, I guess, he's their most talented player. But they don't have like a dude. They've got a lot of really good players. And give Rick Pitino credit. I mean, he's a magician as a coach. He plays mind games with these guys to make them believe certain things. And this team has bought into the fact that they win games with their defense, and they don't need to make threes. And if they do, they're going to be awfully tough to beat. But I just think that the sample size is so big that this is kind of who they are.